What up, YouTube? I thought I'd document something I made just in the last week or so. I pretty much made it by myself. I did have some help from a friend who came and visited for a couple days, and he took wood shop, and so he helped measure stuff out, and he didn't do any of the cutting. I did the cutting. It was pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. I've never used a circular saw before. I've used a hold on. I've used a hand saw before. I don't even know if that's the proper term, but my house was built a long time ago. As you could tell, it's adobe brick. All roof is wood and Spanish tile, but I've used this kind of saw before, right? We're talking like old school stuff. You're just working it. I've never used a circular saw, so that was the first for me, but it wasn't bad at all. Anyways, I had some wood lying around from just things around the house that we replaced or built. Just, standard planks, pine. And I built this. It's pretty, yeah. Look, the wood was warped, and I just wanted to document my process, I guess, and really, because, yeah, I'm pretty happy I made this little thing instead of buying one. Now, for the cost of tools, definitely could just bought one off of Staples or something, right? Could have bought one off of Staples. All I needed to do is to put some books in there, clipboard, notebooks for a little studio out here. But I saw the wood over there, and I was like, why not just build it, Why not just do something different instead of just buy something? So anyways, I made this. I'll give you the full view now. I just put the last of the finish on, and I'm done. I'm not putting any more work into it, as you can tell. I'm over it. I'm gonna add some wood screws in there just to secure stuff, because if you look closely, you can see a gap in there and stuff. Now, the thing about this, I'll keep it here, why not? The thing about this was, the wood is pretty much, it's been sitting in a hot garage where I keep all my guitars smart, huh? And, humidity is the dryer in here. And it's been sitting here for some years. So, with that being said, the wood is warped and all that stuff. Also, just standing upright, I'm sure probably doesn't help at an angle. But I still wanted to use the wood. And, I thought it's better than going and buying a bunch of wood. Now, once again, logically speaking, I'm a logical person. I understand that buying tools and wood glue and clamps is going to cost more than buying a desk organizer that's made by people who do it for a living off of Staples for $25, maybe after shipping $35, right? But I wanted to try something different. I like creating things. I like working on things. I like doing that kind of stuff. Anyways, really what I wanted to do here is talk about my process, which I promise you is not special. But mostly just to get some critical feedback if someone sees this, right? Or if they're a woodworker, or if they took wood shop, or if they could direct me to videos that show me how to be a better woodworker. Criticize me is what I'm saying. I don't mind at all. It's how you get better at things. So this is the creation. I'll show you the tools I used. I guess I didn't get everything out, but if someone knows, they'll know what I'm talking about, because even I don't know. Anyways, so this came from like it was I think 1 inch thick. It was probably a 1x10 plank, about 3 feet long. So I cut up a lot of wood. Now, there is a design I was trying to steal from Staples. I don't remember what it is, but it was 11 high. It was a really nice one. It was cut out like with an S shape here. You know, it was really nice. But because my wood dimensions did not measure up to that one on Staples, we ran into an issue cutting, and we only discovered that, or we really only thought of it after cutting. In the photo, if I edit this, I'll put the photo in. In the photo, the wood probably had to be 1/2 inch thick. This is 3/4, so that already I know will mess up the measurements quite a bit. So I kind of had to make this design. The original design did not have like an extra compartment here. It was one solid. It was actually this base, right? This base, but instead of it being instead of it facing this way, it would be like this with 1, 2, and 3, and then the books going there. So it'd be much more compact and smaller. It also had like a little tray for pencils and stuff I didn't really care about, but I was copying that design, as well as having this cut out in an S profile so you could actually see what books and stuff are being in here. Really cool design, and that's what I was going for. But because my wood, first lesson is that the wood was a 1/4 inch thicker, or maybe even yeah, I'm pretty sure it's probably 1/4 inch thicker. This is 3/4, and that one was probably 1/2 inch thick. So I learned quickly that I can't really readily buy wood that is a 1/2 inch thick from Home Depot. I went to Home Depot and I picked out some wood. I was like, can you guys cut it down this way? And the guy looked at me like obviously you've not been here much. I thought, you know, why not? And my dad as well told me. My dad was a carpenter most of his life, his young life, and he told me like, no, you know, you're not gonna go to Home Depot and get that. They sell it in standard sizes, inch, maybe 3/4 inch thick. So I learned pretty quickly that no matter what, you're gonna be working with 1 inch, 3/4 inch thick. Maybe if you go to a specialty place, they'll do it, I don't know, probably for extra cost. Wood's already pretty expensive. Anyways, so me and my friend did this. Shout out to you, Vinny-Bug. We really did this in like one day, and it was my first time ever using a circular saw. And you know, I think I did pretty good cut wise, but the wood was warped, and I did not even think about a planer. It's funny, I do have a planer. It's a pretty big one though, and I'm sure I probably could have used it when this was a full 36 inch 3 feet plank of wood. No use in using it now. So as you could tell, if you look here, if I got to level out, you know, this is humped quite a bit. That's just life. I did sand it down quite a bit. It was worse than this, but you know, this was originally going to be the bottom, so it was going to be like this. But you know, it rocks too much and it kind of drives me crazy. So I was thinking I could put some felt feet, but you know, I said this is pretty flat here. I have no problems here, so, and it's ugly because I marked with Sharpie. So why not just do it that way? So here's the things that I learned that I will not do on my next projects. 1, uneven wood. I don't have a planer, but it's probably, well, I have that one big planer. Plane it when it's a big sheet, but you ain't planing this with that big planer. Plane the wood, get it nice and even. But if I go to Home Depot, I'm sure I'm gonna probably get some pretty flat wood compared to what I had here. 2, exactly this. Now, I'm wearing glasses. My eyes kind of do suck, and I probably need new glasses, or at least new prescriptions. But we're working with what we got right now. So I did Sharpie lines. I am fully confident in the next project I am not going to do any Sharpie lines for this reason exactly, because they just stay on there, right? And it kind of looks ugly. Now, if it's on the bottom like this, who cares? And if it's at home, it's good enough for who it's for. But I kind of try to level up when I do things. And I think I'm gonna stick with pencil, just a number 2 pencil, a sharp one, because number 3 my measurements were all probably off a little bit due to cutting for sure, because it was my first time using the saw, but probably because I was marking pretty badly. Even though my friend was helping me and he was doing a great job, you know, like just adding that Sharpie line may be just off by a little bit, and there you go, right? So I did learn the importance of that, I think. So sharp pencil and no Sharpie, because it is kind of ugly, and at least you can kind of erase pencil. The fourth thing is the gluing. I didn't really have that much of an issue with the gluing, and I use clamps. No big deal. Mostly, you know, just in my mind, for the first thing I ever built, it's pretty good, right? I mean, like if you look here, let's see if I can get that. Like, you see how much that's sticking out? Like, whatever, right? This is for home use, right? Yeah, I could have cut that down. Not after it's built, but I could have probably sanded it down or planed it, clamped it down and planed it. I don't know what the right cause would be, but please let me know if you have any suggestions. But you know, I wasn't going for being perfect. I was going to just build something, and I did. The fifth thing is the finish. Now, I was using a Bounty paper towel, fold it up, you know, I'd turn over the, right, I'd get this can of polyurethane, turn it over, and then apply it. I was applying it way too thick, as you could probably tell. Mad respect to people who do finish work, right? I love guitars, and they are perfect, like beautiful, you know. That is not an easy gig, for sure. It smells pretty awesome too. But I put the last coats on yesterday. I did sand it. I probably didn't do a great job sanding, as you could tell. I don't know if the light will show, but like, right, I have a bunch of buildup here. Not a lot of drops, but just kind of like uneven, right? My mom said I probably should have used one of those spongy paint brushes that are like cheap from Dollar Tree to apply it evenly. She's right, probably 100%, but I just used paper towel. It says screw it. And you know, on the next one, I'll maybe care a little bit more, but I chose polyurethane because for it to be durable, and you know, just because, why not? That's pretty much it, really. Like, I don't have any complaints with it. It's gonna do what I need it to do, and I think that's the most important part of anything you build, right? As long as it does what it needs to do. The only other thing I might do is add some like felt feet or something to stop vibrations for when I record out here, because sometimes the vibrations do on playback, you know, but it does the job. Now, the tools I use, I guess we'll start off with measurements. So I bought one of these rafter tools, you know. Yeah, I bought this big one, which not bad, but I'm blind, if you remember. And this thing is so hard to see. God bless you if you have good eyes and you can see that, but I cannot see these numbers for the life of me. So, ended up towards the end buying the red one. I should have just bought it. Smaller too. But gosh, I can see this so much better. I did end up buying one of these too. Why not? I like the L-shaped stuff for quick marking a little bit more, even though this gives you a good line, but this definitely, next projects, I mean, I probably won't use this unless I really need to use it for a big piece of wood, right? But just spend the extra and get this, it's not worth it, or the blue one. The second thing I used, that's to measure. The second thing I used was this saw. Now, I bought it brand new, no problem, don't mind. Changed the blade out. A nice man at Home Depot who was in the wood section told me, or asked me what I was going to be building, and he told me to change the blade out for a 60 tooth because you don't want, or you want minimal sanding work. But so change the blade out. I have the original blade, but this thing is pretty freaking heavy. I got corded because I do have a bunch of Ryobi stuff, but I don't know, sometimes my batteries are so done on the Ryobi that I feel like it probably wouldn't have the power or the capacity to like cut all the wood in one time. I'd have to keep going back and charging. So I said, well, for the price of batteries, I might as well just buy a corded saw. Sometimes corded stuff is just the way to go. But I have a good understanding of how to use this thing. I made something with it, right? So the safety of it all as well. Like, you know, I have common sense with power tools. I've used chainsaws and cut trees down and all kinds of stuff. So I know how they work. I understand how to cut, you know, waist, side, all that stuff. But this thing's pretty hip and I can't wait to cut some more stuff. And it's pretty heavy for them, you know. What else? Basic clamp, right? I use this to clamp the wood. As you know, there's a big gap here. Now, I don't think a clamp will fix this, but maybe if I had a third clamp. The way I clamped it was I clamped it here to here, right? And then here to here with two of these clamps, so I only have two. If I had a third and I could put it in the middle to the back, I bet you it probably would have made a difference for sure. But, you know, you work what you got. Of course, I use a tape measure as well. This one's pretty old. Gets your job done. Don't know how accurate it is. I was also told by the nice fellow at Home Depot I should get a Stanley. He said he's been using those for the last 15 years. Wood glue, polyurethane, pretty standard stuff, I think. This is the last thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna screw in some wood screws into it just to make it very stable. But that's really all the tools I used. And that's pretty much it. If anyone has any recommendations on some tips, things I could have did better just based off of looking at this, other supplies to make applying the finish better, tools better, my cutting skills better. But like, honestly, I'm okay with this, right? Like, I'm proud of it, you know? I do know what the main causes or the main issues were. Simply, right, the wood not being even and me not taking the time to make the wood even or do research about it. I just wanted to build something. But other than that, like, I kind of like it. I did keep in mind the pieces of wood I wanted to use and to be seen. And I have a bunch of like knotty pine throughout my house. And I love the knots in the wood. So I try to keep as much of the knots and stuff visible, even though it didn't work as well as I thought it would. But, you know, gets the job done. I definitely did cut a lot more pieces of wood than I needed to, and very small, and learned very quickly that cutting small pieces of wood kind of sucks. And what I used to cut was a couple of plastic sawhorses, and they're behind me. I don't want to pull them out, but it worked for the most part. I could definitely see how a dedicated bench would work well. I have all this here, right? But to be honest, I use this for my music and stuff and recording. So, you know, I don't really want to move everything and then cut stuff and make it all dirty. So I just did it on some plastic sawhorses that my dad had for way back when outside. So it's easier to clean up. I cleaned up after every single thing I did too, like a true craftsman and tradesman. Shout out to Peter for that one. Peter is a friend of ours, and every time he'd do something in our house, he would clean up after. Like, he never left a mess, even if it was to go on his lunch or anything. He just cleaned up, and he taught me real quick that if you're gonna be doing something, you wanna come back to the space with a nice clean space, and that's why it might not look like it in here. You can't even see it, but it's pretty clean. You know, everything gets put away for the most part, so you come back in here with a fresh mind and start over. But yeah, other than that, let me know what you think about this awesome, let's see if I can get that in the light. I just saw it. Look at how bad that application is. I mean, if I was on the assembly line or if I was doing finish work in the Corona factory on a Stratocaster, I would be fired for that. But they have the tools, and You know, one thing that I think doing stuff like this teaches you is that, or at least me, and I'm not bragging, but it really does show you that you could do anything. When I worked with children, that's pretty much like the premise of everything I try to do. You're probably gonna suck at it. The first times at least, you're probably gonna struggle with it. You probably should pay a little bit more attention. You should also listen to people who are giving you advice. And that's why I'm here, right? Asking for advice. It doesn't matter sometimes. You should listen to people who do it, but you should also listen to people who might not do it but just have another input. But the whole point is to show yourself that you can do these things. Like, right? We're so used to going to the store, buying something like this, and that's cool and all, and I love that too, right? I like going to the store. Not really, I'll be honest. I kind of don't like going to the store unless it's the guitar store, or unless it's like the bike shop or something that, I don't know. I'm not big on Walmart, but I feel like everyone says that. I don't know, but that everyone goes, but you have to. But it's showing that you, like, with just the extra pieces of wood, and I still have one plank over there. And I might bust it out. It's a little bit darker of a wood than this pine was, but who cares, right? Just to show yourself that you actually can just do something, right? And I ripped the idea online. The idea did not work out. Found out the wood is too thick and the dimensions aren't right. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and make something with it. I want to make something with it, right? I need something. And I figured it out. And that's the one thing I always try to teach children is, like, that's the point of everything you're doing here right now, is to kind of figure out that you are able to do anything as long as you take the time and you have patience with yourself and you try hard to do a good job too. You know, I didn't go into this like just willy-nilly cutting stuff. You know, I did a Sharpie line, even though it's ugly as heck. I did a Sharpie line just so I could see it better. I was trying my best at the time to make the best cuts I can, and that's what this line was for. Even though now I know I don't want that, but I think now I have the skill. I also have learned and gained more tips on how to use the rafter's edge, or whatever it's called, to measure an offset of my blade and stuff, and use that to make straight lines. That's probably what I'll do on the next one, even though it is kind of fun to freehand. But still, you know, it's like those little things that each time you do it, you're gonna get stronger with it, and that's what's really important. So this one's done. The next things I want to make are, I'm going to make a computer stand for my PC behind the monitor that you can't see, for the studio out here, so I can put it down below and then run all the wires to it. I just don't like having a crowded space. So, but I don't want to just set it on the ground, because I mean, this is a garage that's not really completely sealed. My house is old, it's not even square, and things come in, things leave, things hang out in here. All these spiders are my friends. That's just how it is, you know? And I love it. I wouldn't change it for nothing. So I want to get it off the ground just to help a little bit. That's one thing. The next thing I want to do for in my room, I want to make a monitor stand for my other computer in the monitor, just because I have an amplifier for my headphones, and I want to put it under just to clear up some desk space, because I have this extra wood, you know? And I have the time. Not necessarily the money, but the time. And that's what's more important. So if you know anywhere I could go and source wood for cheaper or for free, I've been told, like, go to the houses being built out there around California and stuff like that, and just ask, you know, it doesn't hurt to ask, kind of thing. And I might do that. You know, I just have to go around in my truck. Can't ride my bike for that. Although I've seen people in Egypt do some crazy stuff on bikes. So I could probably carry a couple planks on my head and hold it with one hand and ride my bike. Although Egypt is a lot flatter than, or at least in Cairo, it's a lot flatter than the Inland Empire. we got a lot of hills here. But other than that, like, I already have things I'm gonna do and I want to do, and I'll probably start on them after I do a few things around the house. And yeah, let me know if you have any tips or any concerns of my safety. I should definitely get a mask too when I'm cutting. Glasses, I already have my glasses. I do have some safety glasses too, but I should definitely get one of those masks because I didn't have a lot of issues. I did it outside and it was pretty breezy here, but I'm sure after a while, like, having all that sawdust fly up in your lungs ain't that fun. Yeah, let me know what you think. All right, let's do a drop test. Just kidding. Take it easy, YouTube, and thank you if you watched this. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions at all. I appreciate all of them, and rock on.